Hello and welcome to video number 2. I'm probably going to overheat in this car. Today I'm talking about what to expect in the short term after a colectomy, particularly the type that I had with ileorectal anastomosis. So this video is going to have a lot of TMI, but you need to know what to expect. So I'm here to give as much detail as I can. So the night before my colectomy, I had to drink the bottles that they gave me, which were about yay big. I drank that. It was like lime flavored. It was probably the best of all those things that I've drinking. I drank those the night before, and then I woke up at 5 a.m., got all prepped for surgery. I was freaking out, which I did not think I would be, but there was honestly no guarantee that this surgery would work, so I kind of started to panic. And they gave me some sort of sedative, some pill, just to relax me. Honestly, I probably need that in my everyday life. Whatever it was great. Then they wheeled me into the surgery room, had me start counting down backwards from 100. Woke up, they said everything went well. You know, there were no complications. I didn't have to have a bag. My IRA worked as far as they knew so far. I was so relieved, but I was still scared because I didn't know if this was really gonna fix my issues. When I woke up, my abdomen did ache so bad. It's not the most painful of anything I've ever felt, but because they cut into your lower abs, you know, they cut all the way through your muscles. So any sort of movement I made that used my lower abs, which is anything with your legs, it hurt bad. I didn't have to walk for a while, but they told me I would eventually have to get up and start walking and using those muscles to heal them. I was not looking forward to it. It was worth it, but it was painful. That first day they gave me those cases that squeeze your calves so that you get some sort of circulation when you're not walking. So I didn't have to walk that first day, but after that they took those away, so I had to walk to make sure that I wasn't getting any blood clots or anything. The other thing is the distension when you wake up from surgery, and the gas pain in my shoulder that they talk about was there for about 2 days. Honestly, that's probably more painful than the abdominal pain. It's just the abdominal pain is like the super dull, achy pain, which I personally just deal better with dull pains. The shoulder pain from them pumping you up with air so they can perform their surgery was a very sharp pain. It was like someone was stabbing me right here. That might have been my least favorite thing, like the most painful part of it, and that went away in about 2 days. They took the catheter out probably 12-ish hours after surgery, which I've never had that done, but it wasn't that bad. You know, nothing bad. It was a little pinch. And my surgeon had originally told me that I should expect to defecate at the soonest 48 hours after surgery, probably, because your body kind of falls asleep. Like your digestive system kind of will fall asleep when you go under. So that's part of the reason it takes a while for it to kick in, and also because you're really not eating much and you've been completely cleaned out right before. First time I went to the bathroom was about 24 hours after I had had my catheter taken out and I had to pee. So I got up and walked to the bathroom. I ended up defecating, and it was all liquid and it was all orange, which kind of freaked me out. I asked my surgeon. My mom and I were like, why is this orange? Like, am I okay? And apparently that's pretty normal. I don't know that it happens every time, but it's not an alarming color. I think it's mixed with leftover blood from the surgery and bile and all those good colorful things. But defecating was not painful at all, and that was really relieving as well. Also want to talk about the medications. They had me on 2 different pain meds that they rotated me on, and I told my surgeon before I went in that I was okay with using some form of opiate while I was in the hospital and it was monitored, but I wanted to try my hardest to not take anything home. I know people with opiate addictions. I have a history of addiction in my family, so I knew I was going to be in a lot of pain, so I wanted it initially, but I did not want to take it home and just take it whenever I felt like it and deal with the repercussions of that. So while I was in the hospital, I was rotated on some form of oxycodone or hydrocodone, and then this other medication that was basically a super strong ibuprofen that was not addictive. The hydrocodone, oxy, whatever that opiate was, I took as a pill form, and the ibuprofen thing was administered to me through an IV. After a day of being in the hospital, I had to start doing a lap around that hospital floor. And so I just kind of, I'd slowly get out of bed and I would scooch my feet and just walk as gently and slowly as I could. I had to do that to retrain those muscles and also make sure my legs were getting circulation and not just laying in the bed all day. Because walking around was so painful, sometimes if I needed to go to the bathroom and I didn't want to walk to the bathroom, I would sometimes just go while I was in the bed, which isn't ideal. You should probably try to not do that, but I'll be honest, y'all, I wasn't really eating, so it didn't smell. So whenever I went, no one knew until I said something. And there were times where I would rather just do that and deal with it later than go to the bathroom back to back. And I think I said I didn't say in my last video. During the time I was sick, I used to literally have dreams that I would go to the bathroom. I would dream of defecating, which is ridiculous, but I'm sure you understand. So now if I have an accident, whatever. Y'all, I'm filming in Studio City, and this guy from Tulsa just like peeked in my window and was like, "Are you from Tulsa?" And then we had a nice little conversation. Okay, anyway, back to everything else. I ended up being in the hospital for about 3 days. I think they estimated before surgery it'd probably be about 3 to 5 days. I went home. My mom was very sweet and grabbed me some cute Depends diapers in case I had any accidents. So wore those for about 2 months just to be safe. I actually only ended up they only saved me like 2 or 3 times during those 2 months. So it was actually pretty good. I started getting used to feeling when my body needed to go to the bathroom. Only a couple surprises in there. Was going to the bathroom for the first 2 weeks, probably 20 times a day. Again, all liquid, and any tiny little bit that I ate would come out about 30 minutes later, and that's why I was going so much. Or if I would drink even water, it would push things through immediately. So I was going about 20 times a day, which sounds like a huge hassle, but I didn't have anything else I needed to do. I was in recovery. And honestly, when you don't go for years, going 20 times a day feels like a huge blessing. The second 2 weeks, it was probably down to like 12 to 15 times a day. And then by the second month, 8 to 10 times a day. And it started to get more solid. Not solid like it was before, but more not just complete liquid. And then once my times a day normalized, by the end of the 2 months and up to now, I probably go anywhere from, and for me as a woman, it depends so much on my menstrual cycle, how many times a day I go. When I'm ovulating and when I'm menstruating, I probably go 4 to 5 times a day. And the times in between them, I probably only go 2 times a day. So it's pretty normal now. Some people are like, oh my gosh, you go 5 times a day. But that's only a few times a month, and it's not a big deal. I feel blessed to be going to the bathroom every time I go. As far as pain meds went, while I was home for those 2 months, I mostly stuck to ibuprofen as much as I could. Just regular home ibuprofen. I didn't take the hydrocodone, oxycodone, whatever it was, home with me. And for about a month, they told me my amount of exercise that I was allowed to have was 10 minutes of walking a day. Could not really lift anything over 5 pounds for a month. After the 2 months, I stopped wearing the Depends diapers. I did not need them any longer. I have had, it's been a year and a half. In that amount of time, I have had maybe 4 tiny accidents, and they're always when I'm menstruating, because for some reason I go a lot and it is very liquidy while I'm menstruating, and that's the only time. I think it has to do something with the hormones, has to do with progesterone, I believe. I looked it up, and apparently low levels of progesterone increase the activity of the digestive system. So I've had a couple accidents during my period. As an adult, that's a little embarrassing, but no one's ever known. You know, I notice it immediately. I don't just go to the bathroom. Like, it's like when you think you're gonna have gas and then it's not gas. Then you walk to a toilet instead and you take care of it. Change underwear. No one has ever known when I've done that. After the first month, they let me build up to lifting up to 25 pounds. I tried to like stay active, but I normally would just walk around my neighborhood. I wasn't afraid to lift things that were a little heavier, but didn't go to the gym to like lift 25-pound weights. I just, if something around the house was heavy and I needed to pick it up, then I knew that I could. Keep your exercise light. I did notice, like 6 months after I tried to do kickboxing, like I was allowed to physically, my muscles were healed and everything, but I noticed that I do get exhausted a little more easily from physical exercise. It's not so bad now it's like a year and a half later, but 6 to 8 months after surgery I was still getting exhausted very quickly. So you just have to monitor that, focus on how you feel, and just respect that. I was getting a little frustrated that I couldn't do stuff without getting tired, but you just lost a major organ. You can give your body as much time as it needs to recover, and everyone's timetables are going to be a little different, but just listen to your body and be patient with yourself. Also, huge thing, after I got home and I started eating again, I was eating all the time, I was not regurgitating. And that was a huge question, if my colonic inertia was really the cause of my regurgitation. And apparently it was. And it makes sense because my colon was completely full, which backed up my small intestine, which backed up my stomach. So anything I ate, my stomach just rejected because it said, hey, Michelle, you have no more room in here. Stop putting food in your body. But after my surgery, I ate and I didn't regurgitate. And it was so nice to not be afraid of eating and to not have to anticipate that feeling of throwing up. Because I just felt ridiculous throwing up all the time. So that's my TMI story about what to expect after your colectomy with IRA. Again, it is not the answer for everyone. If you do not want/need to get a major organ removed, please don't use the non-invasive routes first. Use the medication, use whatever you can. But after trying everything, it did end up being what I needed, and it worked for me. So this video is for those of you that you and your physician have already decided to get it, or you're really seriously looking into it, but you got to try other things first because it's also hella expensive. I tell you, when you look at the bill and you see how much an OR room costs. So save money if Trulance works for you.